These are some of the most powerful men on Earth.
First live demo in VR.
Leaders of corporations worth trillions of dollars. Innovators who have changed how much of the world lives. Nothing gets them as excited as new tech.
Oh my God!
And the possibility of making science fiction into science reality.
I think science fiction's always been an influence on people working in technology, especially in Silicon Valley. As a science fiction writer, if I ever meet anybody from those industries, they're always instantly interested.
It's always the science fiction guys. They think of everything first, and the builders come along and they make it happen.
A lot of major founders and CEOs have talked pretty extensively about their own love of science fiction.
Yeah, I think like sci-fi movies, video games can be pretty inspiring and thought-provoking about what are some like impossible sounding technologies that maybe could work somehow.
Elon Musk talks a lot about loving the Scottish sci-fi writer Ian M. Banks's Culture series. Jeff Bezos of Amazon is, in addition to being a huge Lord of the Rings fan, is also a big fan of the culture. Sam Altman of OpenAI has been talking a lot about the Spike Jonze movie Her, starring Scarlett Johansson as an AI.
Hello, I'm here.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Samantha.
The number of things that I think Her got right, this idea that it is going to be this like conversational language interface, that was incredibly prophetic and certainly more than a little bit inspired us.
The tech titans have drawn on many different ideas from science fiction, and they range from the imaginative to the grotesque.
We will take materials from the moon and from near-Earth objects, and we'll build giant colonies, and people will live in those.
Science fiction itself as a genre is not just about the technology, it's about the kind of implications for society. But I think the kind of way in which tech titans take it is that they take all the shiny technology part of it and they ignore the social, political, and economic implications of those.
The tech bros who wield so much influence over our lives wouldn't be the first to have misinterpreted, misunderstood, or just missed the ethical lessons in the literature and films they consume. However, given their intelligence and the caliber of their teams, what they're doing seems to go beyond a simple misreading of sci-fi. Follow them closely and a pattern emerges of cherry-picking cool concepts, ideas that can become products, innovations that stretch the limits of science and even necessity, and if it all works out, can make them a whole lot of money.
I love science fiction. I mean, I have spent a lot of time reading that.
One example of this kind of ethically dismissive sci-fi fascination is demonstrated by Mark Zuckerberg, creator of Facebook, CEO of social media behemoth, Meta.
Are there any books in particular, writers in particular?
There's some that are just classics around this, right? So I think at this point, anyone who's interested in this space would read Ready Player One and Snow Crash.
Snow Crash.
I think Zuckerberg's relationship to Snow Crash is harder for me to understand precisely because Snow Crash is very much a dystopian satire.
It's super powerful, and it is sort of the science fiction future that I think we all hope to get to.
It's very interesting to me that Zuckerberg has sort of latched onto it as a vision of a future that he wants to bring about.
An embodied internet where you're in the experience, not just looking at it. And we call this the metaverse.
I wouldn't be so rude as to suggest that Zuckerberg hasn't read the book, but I think this is an example of something where he's seen a framework, an idea of a kind of full virtual reality cyberspace that you can travel to and within.
Hey, are you coming?
Yeah, just gotta find something to wear.
All right, perfect.
Boy.
Oh, hey, Mark. Hey, what's going on?
Hi.
I think what's really interesting about a lot of the Silicon Valley CEOs, people like Elon or Jeff Bezos or Mark Zuckerberg, these guys aren't really engineers or innovators anymore. They're just money men.
I was an AI nerd my whole life. I watched sci-fi shows growing up, and I always thought it would be really cool if someday somebody built it.
Sam Altman's a perfect example of this. He's not an AI programmer. He's not worked in that field himself as an engineer. So it's easier for them to become vision guys, selling themselves as an innovative brand or someone that sees the future. And science fiction allows them to do that.
There's a palpable thrill for many tech entrepreneurs when something jumps out of the pages of a sci-fi book or an episode of a futuristic TV series into the realm of the possible. There's Elon Musk's neurotechnology company, Neuralink.
Neuralink, an experimental brain-computer interface that allows patients to control technology with their mind.
Jeff Bezos, once best known as the founder of Amazon, is now also known as the man behind space technology company Blue Origin. His ambition isn't just commercial space travel. He is looking at human colonies in outer space.
Was the idea of manufactured worlds. These are very large structures, miles on end, and they hold 1 million people or more each. This is a very different kind of space colony.
On many levels, these tech titans seem to be playing God. Probe them, though, and they'd insist they're merely pushing humanity's limits so that certain people, the rich, ambitious, intelligent, can become more like God.
Yeah, transhumanism. You know, the ideal was this radical transformation where your human natural body gets transformed into an immortal body.
These fantasy goals are the product of a pretty extreme set of ideologies that many tech bros and sci-fi geeks adopt. They've been summarized in an academic paper into a neat acronym: TESCREAL, transhumanism, extropianism, singularitarianism, cosmism, rationalism, effective altruism, and long-termism. It's a lot of words to Google. In short, these are a set of notions that reinforce the need to build tech-enhanced humans, people with faster brains, who biohack their bodies to perform with minimal sleep, for instance, and who do things like build colonies in space so that the longevity of humankind is ensured.
There's likely to be another Dark Ages, particularly if there's a Third World War. Then we want to make sure that there's enough of us to bring civilization back. I think that's why it's important to get a self-sustaining base, ideally on Mars.
It would be easy to dismiss these as fringe delusions of wealthy, eccentric Western tech bros. But this tight clique of ultra-rich businessmen control some of the most significant technologies used around the world, and they also have a lot of influence with the most powerful and the most dangerously eccentric man on Earth.
There's a notion that we can get to a world we want through techno-solutionism. Technology is the solution in these minds. If we just build this thing correctly, then we can solve political and social problems.
So there's a meme about the torment nexus, which is the idea that a science fiction author has written a book where there's a terrible torturous technology called the torment nexus, and then the next thing is tech CEOs announced that they've invented the torment nexus. It's kind of like disturbingly accurate these days.
A bunch of people have read books that are quite clearly and explicitly warning against a particular kind of technology and taking from it the idea that they should in fact create that technology. And I think AI is an interesting thing to talk about here because on one level, many people who even work in the AI industry believe that they are creating a technology with the power to destroy the world, and yet for some reason continue to work on it.
If you have this incredible new technology, you can maybe get much closer to the kind of computer that exists in sci-fi.
Tech giants see no downside, but that's not how sci-fi works. Sci-fi works as saying you've changed something fundamental about the society. What happens to the entire world around this? Who is harmed and who's losing? And I think the tech titans really don't think about that at all. They only think about this as an unlimited upside, and that's a huge issue.
Thank you for watching. Hit that like button and leave us a comment to let us know what you thought about anything we covered this week. And don't forget to follow us on social media. The links are in the description, and you can also subscribe to our newsletter for updates from the show.